one of our first late night adventures began at Sourdough Rebo's in Railroad Square when I got off work. Pretty much sealed our friendship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then you might have to tell that story.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it started with an
ice cream sundae.
As
there were some amazing things with that.
Most of our days were spent
too.
in that state. But,
where we almost set the school on fire.
Yeah, was that the same?
That was the same night. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but let's go back to Gino, because he was sort of. In fact, I'd like to sort of go back because my history starts with sort of some punk rock frustration, where I'm sort of old enough. I vividly remember when the Sex Pistols played Winterland. I saw that on there. Of course, I wasn't there. I was not old enough. I was way too young, really, and sheltered, and I just not that resourceful, really. But through older friends, and like we were already listening to that album before they came, and so I was pretty obsessed with them, and had some glimpses. I bought the Dickies album, that 10-inch in '78 from the Warehouse Records in Cottington. You know, I was just like, anything that unusual really caught my attention, yet I had no connection to it. I had no, I didn't know where to find any of this stuff. Even when I got to be old enough, I left home at 16 sort of determined to, I knew there was a lot more going on than I'd been exposed to already. So, and so from 16 to 17, I was working at that restaurant, and old enough and probably should have been able to figure out. I sort of told this story in one of Gino's first memorials, because it's basically how I met him. And well, Gino moved up from LA, and he, like I said, he was 16. He moved up with his father. They went to Rancho Cordova. What's the high school in Cotati area?
Rancho Cotati.
Rancho Cotati. And briefly, and he might have even gone back to LA and then came back. And so he met some people like Billy Haas, and Four Time Losers were even going pre-Skirt Boys, for sure, I think. Although, I think everything existed sort of in a house party realm at this point. But then he got transferred to Santa Rosa High. And so I'm like this sort of awkward, really in between. I pretty much lost a whole bunch of my growing up friends. We were just sort of at this weird crossroads where I broke up with a girlfriend, lost a bunch of junior high friends, and really didn't know where I was going at all, and determined to find this exciting world of music. And that's where Gino enters, and we met at the snack bar. And I think Billy Haas actually introduced us. And we were just basically inseparable from that point on. And let's see, I was living at this crazy house over sort of in the JC area with like 14 college kids. First, I left home, lived with his family for like a year.
Is this before I knew you guys?
No.
I was in there.
Yeah. I lived with his family actually when I still worked at Sourdough Rebo's, and we took those adventures in the middle of the night. And then eventually moved to this other house. Anyway, then Gino and I got together, moved into the King Street house, which was right around the corner from him. And so then we also knew that there was this crazy pack of like anarchist mods living in that neighborhood, and like the Fishers and the Browns.
That was us. Yeah.
You were at Santa Rosa Junior High, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Excuse me, I need a drink, but
it's a trip. He was thinking about it.
Oh. So, and we discovered he was an awesome drummer. Gino had, at 16, he had been going to shows down in LA for like 5 years. So he was like
well versed.
Yeah, he was like the king of being in the right place at the right time. He just had so much amazing experience from LA, and then sort of imparted that upon us. So everybody had a different role in this band in a way. Gino's less musical on the guitar, but really creative. And
brought a lot of influences.
A lot of influence. Yeah, the LA sound really actually inspired Skirt Boys a lot, even though it was a totally different world. But that sound really did shape. For example, the song "Friends," if anyone knows that, on the first Victims Family album, was a Skirt Boys song. So A lot of people don't know that, so they actually know a Skirt Boys song if they know that album. And Ralph and I were interviewed recently, and I've heard a couple times people describing the first Victims Family album as sort of our LA punk sound album.
Probably because of Friends.
But yeah, I think Friends is the one that really makes them think that.